For the last year, I have upgraded my 2018 Ford F-150 into a family adventure vehicle. We've added a rooftop tent to horsepower through companies like More Power Tuning. This truck produced 466 wheel horsepower. From the dynos, we've taken this thing to dirt roads, and we've taken it to forest trails. But I am consistently reminded when I sit here in this driver's seat that this truck is a 2018, mostly because of this, the Ford factory 8-inch touchscreen. Now, it's reliable, it works, but when you're driving from Florida to California and anywhere in between, or when you're taking your kids on their very first elk hunt and you're using apps like OnX Off-Road, you do learn that an 8-inch screen does have its limits and its restrictions. Recently, a company called CarABC reached out to me and asked me if I would install, test, and provide an honest opinion on their 12-inch screen for the Ford F-150. Naturally, knowing that this has been my limitation and what has been drawing this car back into 2018, I said yes. I was wondering, does a 12-inch screen from CarABC make the interior of a 2018 feel like it belongs in 2026, while taking some of the restrictions away? So today, we're going to install their screen into my 2018 Ford F-150, and we're going to see whether it does make the interior more modern, or if it was a really expensive mistake.
All right, I'm pretty excited. CarABC has an 12-inch screen that replaces the factory 8-inch screen on the Ford F-150. And I just got a notification that it's here, like at my front door. So let's check it out. All right, that's pretty exciting. So let's get into it. Probably not smart to use a knife, but into the first box. All right, so it comes double boxed. CarABC, in-car entertainment system, smarter in-car entertainment starts here, powerful media, intelligent control. All right, very clean. All right, on top, Ford F-150 instructions. As much as I love these instructions and the colored pictures, the problem is there's only 7 steps and it starts at the circuit board. Nothing else is included on how to actually remove pieces or put it back in the vehicle, but it does have troubleshooting. Ooh, wow. But yeah, it's easily 12 diagonal. Actually, it looks like a little bit bigger. It's 10.5 wide. About 7. Mostly unboxed, you get your Ford F-150 instructions. There's only 7 steps total. Seems a little too easy. So I'll come back to that if I struggle, and I'll caption this and make fun of myself for saying it looks simple. But we've got the 12-inch screen. This thing just massive in comparison to what I'm used to looking at inside the dash. Now there's open spots here. This is where your outlet USB charger goes. These are your tuner knobs for the radio and your volume control. All of these will get replaced directly with the components that are in the dash right now for that 8-inch screen. This is your four-wheel drive. Then you have on the driver's side, you have your two additional. So not only do you have your four-wheel drive, but you have your backup assist. And for me, I have the toe brake. So all of those will then just transplant into the trim here. It comes with trim removal tools. So you don't even have to go get any additional equipment. It comes with screws, and the instructions call out different color codes in here. This will go on the back of your controls. So think of it sitting behind here. So your tuner knob and the ribbons and everything, actually it would probably go more like that, but your control panels will actually plug in. We're out in the truck and we're going to replace this 8-inch screen with CarABC's 12-inch screen. One function that I want to show before we start is that we will lose the CD player. Now, it's 2026. CD players are not as prevalent as they once were when everybody was swapping out CD players with subwoofers and a bunch of stuff back in the early 2000s because Fast and Furious was a hot topic. But before we start, we have no disc. All right, surprise. But I wanted to make sure that we check that before we start ripping this thing out. I do have the manual AC, so you'll see that there's nothing down here. That comes into play when we start talking and looking at the additional components inside of what CarABC sent us. I do have the trailer brake, trailer assist, and the four-wheel drive over here on the driver's side. We will have to swap all of those over. You'll see that our outlet and our cigarette lighter are both there, and we'll have to swap that out as well. You'll notice that we only have 2 of these clusters of buttons on the top of my 2018 Ford F-150. You'll see how CarABC gives us a blank because several of the 17 through 20s come with 3 sets of switches up top. We'll go through all of those. A little corner piece right here. And then there's 3 tabs. One, and then I'll slide this over. Right here. 2. And 3. And that pops right up. Release, leaving 2 7mm screws right here. Now, this does come all the way out, but we don't need to. They're not as deep as I thought either, so we'll just do it nice and easy here. There we go, and this should pull out. There we go. Yep, that pulls out pretty easily. There we go. 2 connectors back here. You're going to, there's a little knob right there. And then down here we have some more. Once again, you're just lifting up that tab. A little tab below the wires. For this one, there's a little tab on the very bottom, and then that one comes out. That's all it takes to pull this one out. For my, you only have 2. Pretty simplistic. Now, before we go inside, we're going to remove the rest of these. And we're going to start with the screen itself. Still, yep. All right. And then on the back of this screen, you've got the antenna, which once again just has a quick release. You have the screen connection to the sync module. You've got that one. All you're really doing is taking this gray tab up and over, just push that tab down, that unlocks it, and that removes your Sync 3 from your 8-inch screen, well, attached to it. Inside, we'll remove the screws and remount it. As you can see, there's only four total wire bundles, 5 connectors for my model. I know we're gonna have to take off this as well. All right, now the only other thing to do is to pop off the vents. Let's use this. All right. So just to show you, that one has green dots, and that one just pressing down here and then pulls out. Same thing with that one. Ah. So before I go and completely kill this thing, let's make an easy mark. Apparently, I forgot to lift this up. If we get this in there, it should just pop right off. Follow it down. And then there's that little bend by the glove box. And then on the passenger side, there's no bolt, but you still have to get around it. To gain access to the circuit board, you have to remove these 9 screws. They are Torx heads. Unfortunately, the only Torx heads I have are on a drill. So nice and easy goes it, but you remove these 9 screws to include the center, and then you can open it up. This gives you access to the circuit boards. On the circuit board, you'll see several additional Torx screws. We have to remove each one of these. There's 4 on the top and there are 6 on the bottom. Once these 10 screws are removed, you can carefully remove this. The instructions do explain to disconnect the ribbons and that they are fragile. I have found that you do not need to do that. Just make sure that you're being careful with the products and the circuit boards, or else you may lose functionality. Next, you're going to remove each of your controls, whether that be the knobs or the control keys. For some of these, you'll notice that as the key that I just removed does not have the rubber matting on the back that is on the circuit board, you also do not need this CD player disc entry. You can go ahead and leave that in place and then start with the climate control knobs and keypad. On this keypad, you can see the rubber mounting or the rubber keypad on the back side. That is on the circuit board for the top.
top switches are those clusters of 2 that we previously mentioned back in the car that said that there was a blank given to us by Car ABC because mine only has 2. We can see here the 3. These just slide in from the front. That is your downhill assist, your 4-way hazard lights, and then the blank, easily installed. From there, we can flip it over. And now on the back side, there are going to be posts that these knobs go in a certain direction, as I have circled here. It has the same thing on the other side, despite I'm going to speed this up. And then for this, Car ABC already has the keypad for the tuner installed. Understand, you do not see the rubber backing. We will have to transfer that over once we get the circuit board. It is on the back side of this, so we're going to carefully do this. I do emphasize that it is easier to install the top portion with 2 screws, as you see me fitting it in here. Putting in the bottom 2 screws as you place the circuit board up, this holds it in place, and they're harder to get to once we install the lower either automatic or manual climate control panel. That climate control panel has 3 screws that we're going to pop in next. Center, left, and right. Once those are installed, then we will insert the climate control knobs. Again, there are posts. They go in a specific way, and then we'll put in the keypad, ensuring that the rubber keypad on the back side of the buttons is there for interfacing with the circuit board. For the AC and the heat knob, make sure that we're putting that in correctly. It has the gear on the back side. This is what activates the max heat, max cooling as well. And once again, you see the keypad as I lower the circuit board. Then we install the other 4. The instructions call out exactly what size to put in. You'll be putting black screws in and silver screws. They are different lengths, and this is specific to Car ABCs. They're all Phillips heads, so it does make life a little bit easier. So you can actually use a properly sized screwdriver and make sure that these are tightened down appropriately. This is a circuit board, so do not go too heavily. Now we go in with the cradle. The cradle only has 6 screw points to mount, but this replaces that plastic cover that we took the 9 screws out of originally to have access to the circuit board. So this is just a left and right hand side on the top, and then there's 2 on the side and 2 on the bottom. As we move over, we're going to have to remove that 4-wheel drive. They have 3 posts on here, so you have to use a claw grip, but if you can manage to push all 3 in, I'll show you here. There's a push over on this side, and there are the same thing 3 ways around, so it kind of makes a triangle. If you push those all in, it will slide out. On this one, there's only 2, one on the top, one on the bottom. It's very easy to use the trim tool on the top. As you push this in, you'll hear a click. Push it forward or push it in, and then use a screwdriver, because this will get down a little bit further, and pop the bottom one out, and it will just slide right out. Easily posted. Once again, it has 2. It looks like that. Little keypad and a little key there that locks it into place. Now we're going to install the bottom one first. This one comes with a separate kit because not every vehicle comes with this. You screw this on. If you do not have the backup assist for the trailer, you have a blank that you can screw on there. This easily just slides right back in. Those 2 clips will lock into place. It only goes in one way, so as long as those keys go in, you hear a click and you are good to go. It makes it easy. Do a little sample test, and we have the green dots on the back. For the 4-wheel drive, this goes into the top near the mount. Make sure that it goes, if you have it face down, it just clicks into place. You do not have to apply a lot of pressure. Those 3 locks lock it into place. One thing I really love is just how stock it looks as it fits into this panel so perfectly. Now we're going to go over and do the 12 volt the 12 volt and the outlet. This one has many clips. You're going to have to apply pressure and maneuver it to get all of them out. There's 2 on each side and 3 on the top and bottom, but once again it just clicks right into place. Everything looks completely stock. Everything feels operational. There's no loud clicks as if it's missing something. All the knobs turn. There's no gaps. There's nothing in there that feels out of place. We'll move over to the sync module, and there are 3 screws. They're easily removed with a Phillips screwdriver. That removes the sync module from the 8-inch screen. We line this up with the replacement piece in the CarABC kit, throw in the 3 Phillips screws, and now we have the sync module mounted. This is going to be an inverse and reversed in the car. I'll show you that in a second, but this is done and looks good. This one matches up with this one, right? We're going to be a little bit careful with this, because if when we turn this on, it reverts to an 8-inch screen. This is what we have to unplug. All right. Plugs right into the back of this one. Yep. And remember, we don't have to like push it in too far. Ah, that's the reason it won't. It's already clicked over. Push that back down, open it back up. We're going to slide it in. You see that come up. Now this is the one that we have to unplug if it does not come up as an 8-inch screen. The USB goes in. I can still reach back here in the event that it doesn't work, so I'm not going to go too crazy just yet. But we are going to connect this so here's our ginormous screen. We're going to connect the blue wire. There we go. We heard a click. We hear it a click. All right. Then we have the white cable. I'm going to go underneath. I'm going to plug that one in. All right. We heard a click. So on the back here, you've got the white one plugged in, the blue one. They're all color coded. We've got the tuning. We've got that. That's all the wires that connect to the back of this for right now. Holy Jesus. Okay, went back. Looks like it went back to 8-inch. Okay, so it is 8-inch. We're going to pull this down
and we're going to redo that first one. And there we go. There we go. Wow. That's huge in comparison. Let's get this thing fully installed. We have to test it. Wow. CarPlay? Valet mode still. But what about hello? Can you hear me?
Please try again.
All right. What about hang up? What about call? Mute? Yep. Mode? Good. All right. What about here? Good. What about good? Let's see. Can we turn on that? In AC. Good. We can light up the board. Got the green. Can we? Yep. Oh wow. Okay. So every control on here, to include that light. Let's try four-wheel drive. All right, looks like everything works. That's pretty awesome. Now, that is what we went from, and that's what we gained. That's a huge difference. Huge difference. That's pretty impressive. Now let's put the rest of it back together.
What do you guys think? Is that screen bigger?
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge.
Super big.
How'd that happen?
You fixed it.
You fixed it.
Well, an awesome company, Car ABC, reached out and they asked me if I could test this screen and give them an honest review with an installation video. So that's how we got a bigger screen. But it's pretty awesome, right?
Yeah.
Do you see how many apps I have now?
That's super up to
That's
date.
insane and very, very modern. Pretty awesome. But now for the first drive with it.